So long as like alchemy.
All right, here we go, y'all. Now, I know these two may not necessarily match up on each other throughout the series that much, but I'm going to break down the point guard matchup, Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry. Now, obviously, you're going to give the shooting edge to Steph Curry, probably the greatest shooter of all time. Why is he that? And don't get it twisted, Kyrie is a very good shooter himself, but if you want to break down the various reasons why Steph is probably the GOAT already in his, short career, only halfway through his career, first and foremost, the release. 0.4 seconds he gets it off. It's almost half the time of a lot of shooters. You look at Iguodala, some of these guys that have a very long release. And then it's the range, man. When I say he can pull up from 30 comfortably, what the difference is when I say that, you see guys pull up for deep threes and sometimes they hit them. But when they're doing that, usually the shot clock's winding down or it's a broken play and they're pulling up out of necessity, they're taking that shot. The difference is Steph will take that bringing the ball up before a play is even called out because he shoots it at such high percentage. So that's what I mean when I say he can comfortably pull up from 30. No one has that range and can shoot that, in that circumstance. But if you really want to break down what sets Steph apart from these other ball-dominant guards is his ability to move without the ball, coming off pin downs, curls, everything. It kind of reminds me of a Ray Allen, Reggie Miller. Clay does it as well, but we'll touch on that later. But Steph's ability, it's very unique with other guys that like to dribble so much. They usually don't develop that part of their game because the ball's been in their hands, since they were 8 or 9 years old. Steph, that's not the case. He can demoralize you without the ball in his hands, not to mention wear you out in the process. So you give him the advantage, catch and shoot as well. And again, I'm not dissing Kyrie. He does all these things very well, but in this category, he's going up against, like I said, probably the GOAT. Now, moving on to ISO ball, one-on-one, handles, getting buckets. I'm going to give the edge to Kyrie. And just like my argument with Steph, you could say the same thing about Kyrie. At least at this point in the league, he's going to win this category against anybody. I mean, you got Melo, Harden, you've got guys that are great at ISO ball. But Kyrie, man, for my likes, I think he's probably the best at it in the league right now. And you say, what attributes, what skills allow him to be the best ISO player in the league? Well, first off, it's pretty obvious. It's that nasty handle, right? Is it the best ever? I don't know, man. But it's the best I've seen. I'll put it to you like that. It's the best I've seen. And I've heard a lot of people, compare. It's Steph, Kyrie, and you want to know the real difference. Kyrie, while he's a good shooter, he's not the threat that Steph is. Steph's ball handling is predicated off his shot. The little head fakes, the nods, the hesitation, he's such a threat all over the court to shoot the ball at any moment. That's really what opens up his handles. Don't get me wrong, he's a great ball handler, probably top 5 in the league, but Kyrie is really on another level, man. Truly ambidextrous, left, right, and then he has the ability to change directions at any minute. And you see a lot of guys that can change directions fast, but the key with Kyrie is he maintains his balance. And that's really what sets him apart with his handle. So, I mean, when it comes to putting people on skates, dude got more victims than Bill Cosby. Too soon? Nah, I don't think so. But y'all know what I mean, man. I mean, he's just an and one highlight reel. Y'all have seen the Uncle Drew commercials and his handles, and it's just so unique and so crafty that it's really a nightmare when anybody is ISO'd on him at the top. Now, most of you have probably heard the phrase $1 million move, 10-cent finish, something along those lines, right? There's different variations of it. Well, Kyrie, the dude got a master's in English when it comes to coming off the glass, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, Steph in this category has, I will give Steph the edge in floaters. If you want to talk about the floaters, I think Steph, that's something he does very well. But the scoops and the finishes and the English off glass, I truly believe Kyrie is the greatest I've ever seen. It's almost, you're like, how did he do that? He's like defying the laws of physics. But anyway, enough of the love fest with Kyrie. Dub fans, I know y'all are like, what the hell, Alchemy? What's good, man? Well, but hey, I got to break it down. I got to give the man his due props, right? Bottom line is both these guys are amazing offensively, and they could very well cancel each other out. They could both drop 30 on each other. I say on each other, but they're probably going to cross match. You're going to see Clay more than likely on Kyrie for the most part in this series. Now, defensively is a different story. You're never gonna hear either of their names considered for an all-defensive team or even being a plus defender. They're both just, let's face it, subpar defenders, man. Where I'll give Kyrie the edge defensively, though, is on ball. I feel like he has the ability to keep a guy in front of him better than Steph. He a little lower center of gravity, and he probably moves laterally a little bit quicker. But where I give Steph the edge is team defense and off the ball. That's where Kyrie tends to fall asleep and isn't quite as disciplined, staying true to the team concept. Now, the real Achilles heel of both these guys defensively is defending the pick and roll. When they get put in that, they don't fight over or under the screen nearly as well as they should. And a part of that is they're not ready. I say both of them because they both have the problem. When you want to fight over a pick and roll or under one, you got to prepare and change your angle of your body before the screen is set. Both of them do it late, get caught or lost. Now, both of these teams will switch at times. I give Steph the edge with the communication on the switching. The team has done it longer. He's been in the system doing it longer, so it may be the system, but either way, Steph is better switching and communicating on defense. Now let's look at the intangible, the mental aspect of this matchup. And Warrior fans, I know y'all ain't gonna like what I got to say, but I gotta keep it 100, man. Kyrie has kind of owned Steph. In their matchups, let's be honest, man, he's kind of eaten his lunch. Obviously, in the first finals matchup, they only really played one game against each other. But in that game, before Kyrie went down, he got the best of Steph. And then the big three, game 7, to put it away. And then again, Christmas Day, now Klay was guarding him, but the matchup, Kyrie had the better game, the big jumper Christmas Day in Cleveland to win that one. So Kyrie has the mental edge as far as this matchup goes. That said, I don't think we can underestimate the revenge factor. Whether people want to acknowledge it or not, in that finals last season, Steph Curry was dragging that leg all around. Anybody that's watched enough of Steph knows he was nowhere near 100% in that series. And that's fine. The Cavs got the championship. It is what it is. But that's far from the case coming into this NBA Finals. Steph looks far fresher and way more healthy. And there's a revenge factor. He knows Kyrie's got the best of him, and I think he's going to use that juice to propel him in this matchup, in this trilogy. So how's this matchup going to break down ultimately? Well, they could easily cancel themselves out, right? They could both give you about the same numbers, 25, 5 and 5, something along those lines. I do think Steph Curry is going to end up with the better finals this time. And why I say that, it's pretty much simple math. 3 is more than 2. And while Kyrie has shown the ability to hit the threes, again, back to the first subject, no one in the world is more prolific at the 3 ball than Steph Curry. And so I think that will be the neutralizer. Kyrie's going to get to the line more. He's going to get to the rim more. But again, simple math, 3 is more than 2. And moving off the ball, I think Steph will find a way to contribute more offensively than Kyrie will in this series. Now, that's just one of the matchups, y'all. I'm going to segment these videos. So the next matchup will be KD versus LeBron. I want to give a big shout out to my man Clay Allen for editing and putting this footage together. Go ahead and check out his NBA YouTube channel, link in the description. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.